And without further ado, here we go. So first, let me talk a little about local printing. One of the things that is interesting about Print Audit is that we cover both sides of the coin when it comes to print management. We do printer management, which is really remote device management, supplies, alerts, all those sorts of things to help office equipment dealers, IT VARs to manage their devices. On the other side of the coin, we also track and manage printing by users, and we've got some tools for printing by users. And so because of that, we're uniquely situated that we can gather information from both sides of the house. We have a massive database, obviously, of device use and data, but we also have hundreds and hundreds of databases of user-based data that brings us information on local printers. So you can see here locally attached printers, and for those that aren't aware of what those are, they're really printers that are not networked. They don't have an IP address. They're printers that are connected directly to your to computers within your customer sites. So locally attached printers account for 15% of your total MIF. Now, as I said, we've got we take this information from hundreds of databases, millions and millions of print jobs, and this is an overall average of the local printers that we've always seen in our accounts with Print Audit 6. 21% of all jobs going to these printers are over 25 pages, which is absolutely the wrong way to be using these printers. And if you can see on the side here, I know it's a little bit small print, but it was the best I could make it. You can see in the top one, this is a bunch of different databases that we put together. You've got total jobs. Now, these different colors are actually job breakdowns. So one job being a print job sent from a user to a printer. So there were 31,974 jobs. Fully 90% of those jobs were 1 to 3 pages, which is good. Those are going to local printers. And you can see the breakdown further down. But when you get down to this next graph, this really does show that these local printers are being used for much more printing than just 1 to 3 pages. The total number of pages going to local printers was the highest percentage, or the next highest percentage, was 29% of jobs that were 4 to 25 pages. These are just not jobs that should be sent to local printers at all. And so this is what we're trying to combat with this system. And of course, if you're not seeing all the local devices, then you're not able to track this. So we know about locally tracked devices. We understand that it's one of those things that everybody wants to do. There's never been a perfect way to do it. It doesn't work as well as network devices where you can just scan the device and ask it what it's doing. It just doesn't work very well. And so what happens is our dealers that are our device management dealers and premier dealers spend an inordinate amount of time trying to manage these devices manually. When software is installed from other vendors other than Print Audit, you're really only getting about 20% of the local printers. You're getting pretty good information on that 20%, but you're only getting a small swath where you should be getting 100%. Accuracy with all of the systems has been suspect at best, and those that have been using the Print Audit system know about the issue with ghost printers. And essentially a ghost printer is printers that we show in our system that don't exist because they've been shared out to 10 different users in the organization, which is one of the big things that we've eliminated with this system. So what we've tried to do is we tried to take a look at each of these things that we hear from our dealers and attack them. So that's what we've done in the most recent release of Facilities Manager and Print Audit. Is we have really done what we think is nail the problem of local print tracking. So one of the keys was time. We talked about earlier. There's no extra work after you're set up. the system does the work itself. It'll go out and find 100% of the devices. And when I talk about 100%, it really is capturing every local device. It doesn't just show 20% of them, the ones that have information that you can ask. It shows every device there and starts to show volume of it. The other key to this is with so much Macintosh out in the world these days, Apple printers, Apple computers, we also track local devices connected to Apple printers, and I think that Print Audit is the only company in the industry that does that. We're accurate from the first day that you start tracking local printers, and all of those ghost printers that people have suffered with us for a while we've been trying to perfect this, the ghost printers finally go to the light. There's no duplicate printers. The printers are gone. So the next screen I'm going to show you is what this looks like in a typical Print Audit overview or an FM screen. And what you can see here is this is in Facilities Manager, those that are used to the Facilities Manager portal, this is one of the many hundreds of views that you can get. But as an overview, you see the network printers, and the reason we can tell that they're networked is they've got an IP address, and they show supplies information. Now the key to this is, and the key to all device tracking is local device tracking is there's two methodologies. One methodology is there's a piece of software that's installed where the printer is that asks the printer information. Now that type really, when it's polling the printer, it only gets a certain amount of printers, maybe 20 to 30% of the printers have the ability to be polled, and so you're getting very, very few of the printer of that 15% of printers in your MIF. And we think it's only about 20 to 30% of the 15. The other way is to track the local from where the print job takes place. And I don't want to get too technical here, but what Print Audit does is something that we've been doing forever with Print Audit 6, is our locally installed agent tracks the printing from the desktop. And so because of that, it doesn't matter what printer your users choose, we capture all of that information. And then between Print Audit and Print Audit 6, Print Audit Facilities Manager and Print Audit 6, the duplicate data is all filtered out, and then what you see is typically this. Now, you may say, well, I have to see the supplies on those things. Again, you've only got about a 15 to 20% that can actually see supply, 20 to 30% that might be able to see supplies. Most of the other devices local devices don't give that information at all. So we decided to err on the side of 100% tracking, because once you've got tracking for 100% of those devices, one, you've got a complete inventory, which is what we get asked for every day. And because we're getting volumes on those devices, you can start to set up alerts in our system based off of when you think the supplies are going to be depleted, or you can use rules to start to move volumes away from those devices. But there's a lot of ways to do it. But the key to this was, and what our customers said is, we'd prefer to see 100% of the devices than more information on only 20% of the devices. And so that's what we've done. And this is a typical screen. So how do you get this done? One of the next things that we had to take care of, again on the time side, was making this as easy as possible. So there's three major steps to this. The first one is installing our network collection agent, which is called the ICE, the Information Collection Engine. And essentially what it does is, if you are just looking at the network printers, it'll go out, pull all the network printers, and bring back the information into the portal as I showed you before. It's good enough for any customer that doesn't have local printers, but if you want to start capturing the local, the next thing that you do is you install Print Audit 6. Now, Print Audit 6 is installed on all the desktops, so you don't just, it gets rolled out automatically to all the desktops, and so you don't just install it where you think there's a printer. You install it across the network. Print Audit has over 1.5 million seats of this installed, or pieces of this installed at customers everywhere. The rollout is easy, it's invisible, and it is what captures 100% of your local devices, because every time somebody clicks on print, we bring that information into the portal instead of just the times where they're printing to devices that have just a little bit of information. And then the third step is go back to growing your business. We know how much time and effort this has caused you, and local printing from our device management system, or any other device management system, causes office equipment dealers, IT VARs, anybody that's managing printers on an MPS system, it's causing them a ton of time. So we've taken the time factor out, and now you can go back to growing your business. So one of the keys is, after you've gone through your 3 steps, the data is flowing up to you. What I want to do now is talk to you a little bit about what you can do with that data. And I'm going to give you a couple of really cool hints about what to do with the data. And you can bring this forward. We have Print Audit dealers have us working with them on a quarterly basis to take a look at the data in this fashion. And essentially what you see here, and I know it looks pretty complicated, but I'm going to zone in on a couple of things. This is what we call a competitive analysis. And essentially when Print Audit FM, Facilities Manager, the ICE, and if you're getting the local printers, the Print Audit is installed, we're actually watching every device in the network, whether you're managing it or not. And so what we give you here is what we call a competitive analysis. And the competitive analysis is, it shows you the devices you're managing and the devices you're not managing. And you can see that in this particular dealer, and we've hidden their name, you can see the wonderfully redacted names, like the FBI UFO files. This is not an alien customer. This is an actual customer somewhere in the world, and you can see that this is their entire myth. In the case that I've highlighted here, and I hope you can see this, this customer is what we call upside down. And what we mean by upside down is you're managing 56% of the volumes, so which is good, but you're, or sorry, 56% of the devices in the customer account. But where you're upside down is you're only getting 34% of the volumes, and that's no good. That's not good at all. And we see this all the time, and we've actually got people that spend a lot of time going through this data and bring it to your attention when you're upside down, and we also have reports and things like that. Our goal is to flip you the other way and make sure that you're making money and that you're not upside down on any of your accounts, somewhat like this one. So you can see here, this is the perfect scenario. They only manage 45% of the volumes, but as our boy James likes to say, but you're eating your competitor's lunch in this space, because you're actually managing 89% of the volume. So 45% of the devices are yours, but you're taking away 89% of the volumes, and that's good news. But what can your salespeople do with this data? Where can they use it? Well, let's say that you've got a typical screen and you're taking a look at one of the unmanaged devices in your account, and your salespeople can have alerts set up that when there's problems, and right down here at the bottom, toner almost empty, various marketers, replacing no paper in the tray, whatever the problem would be, the fuser's low, any issues that there might be with a device, well, they can get an alert on competitive devices and call the customer and say, hey, how's that other device working for you? Are you interested in changing it up with one of mine? Well, this sounds a little low, underhanded, and it sounds like skullduggery, but it works like crazy, and it is a competitive world. And I'm not saying that Ricoh's machines are down all the time. It just happens to be the one that I've got on the screen here for information. So imagine your salespeople call up the customer, say, hey, I see that printer's down again. It's been down quite a bit. Is it okay if I come and give you a bid on a new printer or copier? That's an awesome way to use the data. Now, another way to use this same data, and I promised you two, is using the Print Audit 6 a little more thoroughly than just collecting information on local devices. You can use Print Audit 6, and many of our premier dealers are using it every day. They would see themselves being upside down in an account, and they'll go to their customer and they'll offer something called rules. Now, because Print Audit 6 is already installed at the customer site, it's just a licensing issue. So with the rules, what they'd say is, hey, your users are still sending enormous amount of volumes, even though we've told them lots, they're sending enormous amount of volumes to their local printers. We're managing those printers, or we've decided that you don't want them sending them to those printers. You can use rules, and essentially what a rule does is it pops up and says, hey, anything over 25 pages shouldn't go to this device. It should go to our device down the hall. So you're increasing your volumes, significantly increasing your volumes, and the users are getting a message saying, hey, we need to print somewhere else. Now, that's not the only reason for rules. There's hundreds of other reasons. Security, for watching what documents are being printed, managing the amount of color, forcing duplexing. And forcing duplexing is a great way for your customer to get a benefit of cost. They're using less paper, but you still get the clicks. And typically your devices are the ones that can duplex. So rules is an absolute next step for better managing the devices that you've got in the site. And also when you put the software at your customer site, they'll start using the rules and using the software to monitor themselves, and they become much more sticky with you because they've got software that they're using every day. So that is the second hint for how to get the most out of your device management system, how to get the most out of Print Audit Facilities Manager. To that, as I mentioned before, Print Audit's the only company that that does both remote device monitoring through Facilities Manager, but the other piece that we do that I just showed you is the rules, cost accounting, secure release printing. There's just a whole bunch more that Print Audit 6 does, and what we did earlier this year is we set up a program that we call Print Audit Premier, and it's a flat rate that we charge dealers, and that we charge dealers to use all of the Print Audit products for one cost every month, and they've got virtually unlimited access to the Print Audit software. So your cost to us is fixed, and everything above that cost is profit for you. So we've got some statistics. We've been running the Premier program. We expect to go over 50 dealers by the end of this month, which many of you know we've got a special on for the first dealers where they get a significant discount on the system. And we've decided to hold that special over until the end of September, then we'll be quitting. But you can see on the screen here that we've been tracking the 3 promises that we make within Premier. Win new customers. Our Premier dealers, many of them who have used device management before, so remote device management, watching the printers, doing the billing, meter reads, and supplies, they hadn't been using the Print Audit 6, which is the other piece, or the secure, or introducing that to their customers. Customers are interested in this, and these guys are seeing a 3% monthly revenue increase in the few months that they've been on. Keep current customers. This really means the stickiness that I was talking about earlier. The idea behind this system is that instead of your customer owning the software, you own the software. So when you put it at your customer site, it's much tougher for them to, at the end of a contract, to move to another copier dealer. And the reason is that the software becomes mission critical for them. So the secure release, where they're going up to the device, releasing the pages directly from the device instead of where they print from, and that's a security value. It reduces paper, all sorts of things, but it becomes what they're doing every day. Because it becomes so much a part of what they're doing every day, again, it's tough for them to move away from you because you own the software now, whereas in every other software model or print management model, you sell the software to the customer and they own it forever. Make a lot of money. We're finding that our office equipment dealers that are on Premier, the average that they're making is a $6,500 monthly profit. And what that means is we've got our flat rate. They're very quickly, within 90 days, they're getting past that flat rate, and they're averaging $6,500 in profit a month. And we'll show you how do we do that. So we're getting to the end of the presentation here, but I'm going to bring up one more statistic that we found, or one more set of statistics that we found in our database. What's fascinating about this is we look at our device management portal, and we can get information about Premier customers, IT VARs, office equipment dealers. And so the first one here is office equipment dealers are managing approximately 53% of their overall of a customer's overall page volumes. A lot of this has to do with the local volumes or competitive people in their accounts. IT VARs tend to manage about 75% of their customers' page volumes. Sometimes the IT VARs, what we find is they actually overlay the office equipment dealer, but they'll typically manage just about every network device in the customer site. Premier dealers, Print Audit Premier dealers, manage 85% of their customers' volume. So by far, they manage more of their customers' volume than any other constituent in our system. So the debate rages at Print Audit. Is it because of Premier that they're managing 85% of their customers' volumes? Are they just smarter than, or more, or faster, or better managed print services customers and dealers, so they're on our system? Or is it both? I guess it doesn't really matter. The thing is that they are on the Premier system and they're doing very well from it. So as I mentioned before, we're coming up to the end of our first 50 discount. We know that we're going to go past 50 this month, but we're still extending the discount to everybody that's interested in getting on Premier this month. So if we go over 50 and you get in September, you'll still get the discount. And so that was a little bit of an ad for Premier, but the goal here was to show you that you can get 100% of your locally attached devices in your device management system, and we're happy to show you how. So please feel free to contact us at www.printaudit.com, or if you're in North America or anywhere in the world, you can call us at 1-403-685-4932. And if you've got any questions or you want to trial the system, we've got lots of really nice people that are standing by to try and are ready to help you. As I mentioned at the beginning of this call, I'm not actually going to take questions. There's just too many people that are on the system, and will take way too long to do that. And I also promised to try and finish this presentation within a half an hour. So that was my goal. Thank you for your time today, and please feel free to try the system. We'd love to have you on board.